I'd like to call this meeting of Festus City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Underwood, Councilman Wilkie, Councilman Weiner,
Here.
Councilman Dennis,
Here.
Councilman Venz,
Here.
Councilman Cook,
Here.
Councilman Hammond.
We do have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Approval of the consent agenda. For tonight's consent agenda for the warrants, we have a total of $1,084,595.16.
So moved.
Motion's been made to approve the consent agenda and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Remarks of visitors.
We did not receive any.
Thank you, sir. Bids, Fire Department.
What we have this evening is a request to replace our old HVA system in the firehouse. This is for the older part of the building, not the addition that was done just a few years back. The current system we have, I believe the furnace is somewhere around 29, 30 years old. The AC unit's like 15, 16 years old. So we went out to train, since we've had such good luck with them here at the City Hall and Police Department, and under a cooperative agreement, there is a cooperative contract number and everything with them, requesting the purchase of the system through train for $11,920. We budgeted for
Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, question for you, sir. I don't understand the cooperative agreement. Does that not, hey, Greg, does that not require like multiple bids?
No, it's already been bid. As you recall, it's like a state contract, but it's through a
Okay.
agreement. So
Thank you, sir.
Train is a cooperative purchasing corporation.
Appreciate it. Makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid of $11,920 for an HVAC system for the firehouse.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Motion carries. Chief, purchase your HVAC system.
Stay cool.
Our next bid is for an animal control truck and bed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Before you tonight, you have the purchase of a 2022 Ford F-250 with the fiberglass specialized bed. Unfortunately, I can't bring you the news that this is under budget. It is in fact over budget by about $3,800. That overage is because the budget numbers are from 2019, and so they weren't updated over the years as this item remained, I guess, on and off the budget. And so because the numbers are old, we missed the mark a little bit, but it is still very, very much necessary. So I'm requesting your approval to purchase it, even though we're a little bit over budget.
Any questions? Yes.
So I'm working on the budget amendment right now, so this would be part of the budget amendment for the health fund, just so you guys know, the overage would go towards the budget amendment. So I just want, before you approve it, I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
So on the, later on, it would be like selling the old truck.
Yes, sir. That's a good point. We're just now getting about, I'd say 80% through our trial run with Purple Wave. So we had a handful of vehicles we put on Purple Wave. Those vehicles, I believe, we have until tomorrow, I believe, or maybe this day after that the auction ends. I hope to bring results to you guys next council meeting. But this would be an item that we would put back on the Purple Wave if you guys agree that it was a good means of selling our old, outdated stuff. Because we've still got some.
Right.
That was just the tip of the iceberg.
Dave, you would expect that we make up that $4,000 difference on the sale of the truck. Animal carrier on the back.
That's what I was. thinking.
Well, that's what I figured we were going to do.
Right.
Balance it.
Balance it.
Is there any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid for $42,894 for the animal control truck and bed.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Second it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion carries. Purchase the animal control truck and bed.
Thank you all.
The next bid we have on the agenda is from the street department for a 2022 Ford F-550 dump bed with snow plow and spreader. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So before you tonight, gentlemen, you have a Ford F-550. That's a 1.5 ton truck, a little bit bigger than the capacity of a 1 ton. This truck's going to replace a 2004 model. We're asking for a plow and a dump bed, back of it, snow plow and dump bed, so that we can put it in our fleet for small streets and alleys for snow removal. So it's going to be part of a new initiative that we start next season. We're going to have more trucks on the road, more bodies and vehicles pushing more snow. Hopefully it makes our process a little quicker. So this is part of that. So obviously that's only going to be a part-time job. The rest of the time it's going to be in the street department being used as the 350, the F-350 that's replacing is now. This one, thankfully, is a little bit under budget by about $2,700, to which I will happily use part of that money to help me pay for the next truck, if I might be so bold. This is another one of those vehicles. This is a 2004 model. It's nearly 10 years old. I can't imagine we're going to keep it in the fleet very long. I'll talk with Alan, and if it's appropriate that we sell it, we'll do so.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to purchase a 2022 Ford F-550 dump bed with a snow plow and a spreader for $104,251.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Motion carries. You may purchase that truck.
Thank you.
Next, from the water department, we have next bid we have is a 2022 Ford F-550 flatbed with snow plow and spreader.
All right, Mr. Mayor, members of council, finally, this next truck is going to be replacing a 1997 model. Now, we could almost have historic plates on that vehicle. realize. It's
Come
been in the
on.
fleet for a couple days. So again, we're replacing a 1-ton GM with this 1.5 ton Ford. What was intended but didn't make it into the budget was that this would also have a plow and spreader on the back of it to assist us in snow removal. So adding those two items does put us over budget, and it's significant. It's about $20,000 over budget. But as Stephanie mentioned, these will be encapsulated in our midterm budget amendments. And if this vehicle, and I anticipate it would be, the one it's replacing is going to be sold, we could levy those revenues against it as well. Well, once you put that spreader on the back and you put the salt in it. Yes, sir. Like that.
Hey, Greg, will the budget amendment adjustment come from Public Works itself or general revenue?
If you look at the way this is set up, Mike, the flatbed itself, the truck and the flatbed brings it in under the water department budget, since the snowplow, the plumbing for it, and the spreader would be used specifically on streets. It would be included in a transportation amendment because of the equipment and how it would be used.
Okay, so it's spread out from all departments. Okay,
Correct.
thanks.
And really it addresses what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, guys, is we need some smaller, nimble trucks with 9-foot blades to be able to get down the narrow streets, subdivisions, cul-de-sacs.
Very true.
So if we're buying some big trucks, let's go ahead and get them all set up to be able to do the work that we'd like to do.
Stephanie, do you have anything you want to add? All righty. Okay. Are there any other questions?
I would just like to add, I'm happy to see not just this truck being purchased, but multiple trucks being purchased for our fleet, because when I walk by Public Works, some of them, like Matt said, they look like they could have historic plates on them. So it's good to see that we're going to be more efficient, and happy to see these joining the fleet. That's all I
Any
have.
other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to purchase an 2022 Ford F-550 flatbed with a snowplow and a spreader for $90,294.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Purchase the second vehicle.
Thank you.
That's all the bids we have. We now have bill number 4621. Would the clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 4621, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, accepting the infrastructure of Birchwood Estates Phase 1 through 3 and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4621 is now open for discussion. Can I have a staff report, Mark?
Sorry about that. Good evening. This is for the adoption of Birchwood, Giselle's new subdivision out on West Main, for all the streets, water, and sewer, sanitary sewer lines. Everything's passed. It's been in for a while, and they submitted all the paperwork necessary, and it's set to go. Normal adoption.
All righty, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or discussion?
Yeah, I have one, Mr. Mayor. The only concern I have is I'd like to see us look at a plan going forward. We keep adopting subdivisions and lights. The electric bill, I believe, we're already about 125 to 130,000 a year. I talked to Greg about it, and he seems like he has some interest too. Maybe in the near future, look at what our future growth would be and what our stopping point is on annexing the streetlights and having the city absorb that cost. Thank you, sir.
Good point. Is there any other discussion?
Mike, just to make sure I'm following, I think our discussion was specific to HOAs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
Are there any other questions or any other discussion? If not, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4621 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4621 for the second time?
Bill number 4621, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, accepting the infrastructure of Birchwood Estates Phases 1 through 3 and establishing an effective date. Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Bill 4621 has passed.
Thank you, gentlemen and Mr. Mayor.
We also have Bill 4622 on the agenda this evening. Would the clerk please read the bill?
Bill number 4622, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the plat of Festus Commerce and Business Center Plat 7 and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. Staff report, please.
We have Joe Feldman with Cochran Engineering on the call if you have any questions for Joe. Pretty much balances the two lots to about 3/4 of an acre apiece.
Is this the lot just south of KFC? They had split the lot late last year, middle last year. Just like Greg said, they're simply balancing out, moving the property line, shifting it slightly.
That's correct.
Is there any other questions or any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4622 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4622 for the second time?
Bill number 4622, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the plat of Festus Commerce and Business Center Plat 7 and establishing an effective date. Councilman Boyer. Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Councilman Venz.
Yes.
Bill 4622 has passed.
Thank you, gentlemen, Joe and the mayor.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark.
Tonight, we also have Bill 4623 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read this bill for the first time?
Bill number 4623, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with Joker's Paving and Contracting Incorporated for 3rd Street improvements, federal project STP-2600-610, incorporating said contract as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Staff report.
We'll let Matt rest his voice a little bit. This one has been cooking for a while, gents. We did finally get concurrence. If you recall, we did open the bids for 3rd Street late last year. Joker's Paving and Contracting is set and ready to go. Once we get the contracts executed, we would establish a pre-construction meeting and get rolling on this one pretty quick.
That's going to go all the way to the park, right?
This will go from Cromwell to the school campus. Basically like the Fifth Street project did.
Oh, okay. All right.
So new sidewalks, storm drains, streetlights, road surface, resurfacing.
Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions or discussion about this bill? Hearing none, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4623 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4623 for the second time?
Bill number 4623, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with Jokers Paving and Contracting Incorporated for Third Street improvements, federal project STP-2600-610, incorporating said contract as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Motion passes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take a 3-minute break. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Next thing we have on the agenda is new business. And that would be Four Brothers Mead's request to pour concrete pad. Staff report.
Yeah, gentlemen, you have a letter there from Dan, who is on the call with us this evening. Also, we have comment from staff, obviously diagram from Four Brothers, the necessary permitting they would need because this parcel is in the floodplain. But Dan's here to answer any of your questions. If you recall, we have done these types of cooperative agreements in the past, most recently with Main and Mill, when they asked to be able to use the property directly behind their building where they keep their trash dumpster and the extension of their patio.
Is there any discussion or any questions?
I noticed in the staff report for the Parks Department and Public Works, they talked about parking lot for a possible dog park. Was there any consideration or discussion with that idea?
We're very early in the planning stages on that. That's something that Barb and Josh have been working on in the last month or so. I know it's an area that the city doesn't really have a lot of possibilities as far as use goes. But obviously a park would be something that would be allowable. I know Mark did a lot of homework on what we're allowed to and not allowed to put in that area because of it being part of the buyout. So I think as long as we don't necessarily get any larger than what they're proposing here, because if they did more than the proposed, was it 11 by 40, that we would have some issues with it encroaching on an area that we would possibly need to use with a proposal for a dog park moving forward.
Sure. I see it as an excellent cooperation with the city and private enterprise back there. So I'm 100% behind it. I just saw the notes on that. So that was my reason for asking. That's all I have.
Is there any other discussion or Daniel, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, sir. Yes. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So yes, this would, this pad, Four Brothers would maintain the beautification of this pad, and it would allow us to transport our, our storage of our raw material and whatnot, without having the need to have our employees carry and lift items up the stairs. So for us, it's more of a safety concern as well. And that's my statement. Really, there's no plans and there's no intention to go over the proposed 11 by 40. Again, I had close discussions with the engineer involved with the surveying, and everything looks good on that part. So I have no further comments unless anyone has a question for me.
All righty. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
If not, I will entertain a motion that we approve the request by Four Brothers Mead to pour concrete pad 11 by 40.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Mayor.
Good job, Daniel.
Any old business?
Well, I thought we would touch on this evening, especially in light of the news that came out of St. Louis County today. We didn't have this on the agenda, but I know a lot of you have probably been asked individually. We've talked about it collectively as to when we would like to start a resumption of normal services, specifically the lobbies, the libraries, the library being fully opened, but also being able to take reservations for like the band building and things of that sort. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We've been working, all the departments have been working hard to make sure that when the time arises that we would be ready to go. There's been plexiglass partitions placed at the Public Works building where people pay their utility bills. Obviously, the other lobbies are equipped with partitions already in place. So with the news out of St. Louis County today, where they were beginning to lift some of their restrictions, I wanted to at least touch on it, and that if we were to say pick a date on the calendar that is not tomorrow, that would be, I think, something that we can move ourselves towards. The guidance that we've been going on, everything we've been basing our direction forward has been based off of the protocols from the county health department. We've said that we would go to close to normal operations, obviously with some capacity restrictions with the library and say our larger buildings. But we would base that off of a yellow color indicator. They came close in the last 2 weeks. We haven't gotten there yet. We could get there this week. It just really depends. But I think with a lot of the activity we're starting to see, it's fair and reasonable for us to have this discussion. And if we want to pick a date on the calendar, so to speak, I think certainly staff is at the point now where we'd like to start moving in that direction. I think.
How about the 15th for Public Works? It's going to be water bill day. That's your biggest.
Well, I don't think we have to limit it necessarily to Public Works.
Well, but I mean, that'd be a start if you wanted to at least get that one going, and maybe, the city hall itself, because like I said, they don't meet the public.
No. Really, the only area we would have concerns would be with the library.
Yeah.
But the library has partitions. As you recall, as part of our CARES Act funding, we received reimbursement for a people counter. So we're able to stay at, say, a 25 or 50% capacity. The ladies there would be able to monitor who's coming and going and make sure that they stayed well spaced and socially distanced as they're supposed to.
Do you have a date in mind?
Bobby threw out the 15th. We can make that work. If you want to wait till the 22nd, it's entirely council's discretion.
Was the 22nd the date that you had in mind that would work?
I was hoping that we could at least get till then. I honestly thought we would have our guidance from the health department by then down into the yellow range. I would fully anticipate that we could be in the yellow by then, but
why don't we go with your thought there? And then if things change, then you can come back to us and let us know. Sound like you've kind of thought this out. So my recommendation and my vote would be let you set the date and we'll go from there.
Hey, Kevin, my only question would be, if we shoot back up in the red, I don't want this to have to come back to council and wait. I'd like to have the mayor or Greg have the ability to put us back to a secure policy if we shoot back up. I'm afraid this could be up and down. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, it's my intent to leave it up to him because he's next to it every day. Other than trying to rush it, for water bill day or something like that, leave it up to him and keep us abreast of what's going on. So yeah, I'm good with that.
And to take on that, something that we've talked about, the emergency order, the ordinance that we have in place gives the mayor and myself the authority that, if we're moving wrong direction and the rolling totals for the county shoot back up into the red, I think at that point we would suspend any opening procedures at that time.
I would definitely agree with Mike and Kevin to give, not to give, but to have you and the mayor, Greg, be able to make that decision just in case something did turn negative, so that you could make the decision. You wouldn't have to go back to council for it.
You guys comfortable with it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm quite comfortable with it. If things, if the county comes out and goes to yellow, say sometime this week, I don't see why we couldn't open everything up as we've talked about on the 15th. If they don't, then we'll just play it by ear. Greg and I will get together, figure out a date, and we'll get things opened up again. A lot of people are getting their vaccinations, and the CDC had just came out tonight with new rules about meeting with your family or with a group that everybody has been vaccinated. They say you don't need to wear a mask. You don't need to social distance. You can grandkids can give grandma a hug, you know. So I think we're still in the experimental phase, for lack of a better term, of recovering from this. And if we get to yellow, then let's open it back up. And I've, for one, look forward to being able, as I think I said last meeting, to have the full city council sitting here having a meeting. And so let's look at it that way. If it changes to yellow, then we'll shoot for the 15th. And if not, Greg and I will talk about it and we'll see what day would be best. Let you all know. And once again, if it does go back up to red, we will shut things down as we see fit. Are there any other discussions?
Sounds good to me.
Yep. All we can ask.
Okay. Is there anything else for old business?
No, sir.
Okay. Councilman Dennis.
Got my second COVID shot Friday. A little bit of sore arm, maybe a little bit of headache, a little bit of fatigue, but that could just be from being 58 years old. So just want to let everybody out there know that hasn't got it, that if I can make it through it, they ought to Zoom through it, so to speak. So, hopefully some people will change their mind about getting it and keeping them safe. So, but I certainly appreciate the opportunity to get it and try to set somewhat of an example. If an old guy can go down and get it, let everybody else know how it turned out. So that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. Councilman Weiner.
From an older guy than Kevin. I had my second one. I had a little sore arm for a day, and that was it. So I would also encourage everyone to jump on board in case you haven't. I saw where the police department are going to be having their new radios put in the cars in the next couple of months. So I'm very happy to have read about that. 3rd Street project, glad to see that up and running. I'd like to thank Greg and Matt for getting on that mirror that Councilman Boyer had suggested over at the ball barn. Also, I was tried to pull out on that street, and that was ridiculous. There was absolutely no way. So thank you, Dave, for bringing that up. And it's a good safety issue. Yeah. That's all I have, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Councilman Cook.
As a much younger person, I had no effects from my second COVID shot from all them wimps, no sore arm or nothing. So I feel great. Hey, Greg, do we have any numbers on employee vaccination rates? How that's coming along by chance?
Well, we did an event with ComTree. We've gone over we've had 2 waves of employees out of the 100 so that we had scheduled through ComTree. We probably had close to 30. I know the PD was able to get, and the fire department were able to get theirs at different times. And then some have made arrangements on their own. But as far as any participation that we've had, like I said, we probably had about 30 go through the 2 dates that we set up with ComTree.
Okay. And last thing is I mentioned to Greg, and he's already been working on it with Josh. I inquired about possibly expanding West City Park's asphalt surface. And Greg, as we get closer, would you kind of shoot it to us on what you and Josh are talking about and looking at? And I greatly appreciate it, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see everybody soon.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Vance.
I have nothing, sir.
Thank you. And Councilman Boyer.
Yes, sir. I talked to Matt a little bit earlier about this here, the yellow paint lines out at the park needed to be repainted. There was almost an incident out there the other day, and we were walking out there, and received a couple complaints on that, but Matt did say that he's going to be looking into that, and that would be sprayed out there. Doug, this one would be for you, sir. Over at UPS store, we're having a lot of people got calling me. I got anywhere, if you're in that area, they come by and talk to you. Mr. Leffel even called me about it. But the traffic, when it comes out of that car wash, it backs all the way up, blocks off both his places, a lot of times. And it's been extremely busy, and I understand that. You can't have a policeman over there all the time. I realize that myself.
If he calls us whenever it is blocking both entrances, I have seen it where it's blocking the lower entrance, but they've usually been leaving a gap for people to get through as we've gone by. But if they have an issue where people can't get in, have him, Mr. Loffman, call us, and we'll send the car out to kind of move people along.
Okay. I don't know if any kind of signage there would do any good. Yeah.
The only thing you can do maybe is make that side of the street no parking, but they're not really parking, they're moving. It's really kind of a,
Yeah.
In this time of year, usually it doesn't have that much of a backup.
Right.
It's just right now after the big snow, everybody trying to get the salt off their cars the first couple warm days.
Right.
I don't think it's really going to turn into an issue like Crystal City always has, which is them backing out
On the highway, yeah.
At least here it's a low speed deal, so we don't have to worry about the rear end crashes like they do.
Right.
But I think it'll play out over the summer. We didn't have an issue with it last summer to speak of. So I'm hoping once we get after this weather break that that'll calm down a little bit.
Okay, I'll contact Mr. Leffelman.
But if he ever has a problem, have
Tell
him
him.
call dispatch. We'll send the car out there. Absolutely.
I'll do it. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you. Can I touch on one other thing, Mr. Mayor? Yes, go ahead. Back to what Brian was saying about the radio installs, just to give everybody an update. They are supposed to be here Monday to start working on the dispatch radios in the basement. And Tuesday, our cars start going up to Arnold to have the radios put in the cars up there. So that's where that project goes. And then our MDTs, they started installing those today. So we'd like to thank the council for all the support that they've given us to get all that stuff purchased and getting our cars. Good report. Any other questions for the captain? Now, probably, and I suspect it's right, the oldest person here in this meeting who got both shots had no problem whatsoever. So anyway, the guys are doing good. I see them out all the time. And I'm quite proud of our workers in every department. They conduct themselves the way they should, and they're always busy doing something. The girls in the office, they're getting more busy, and I know that if we open things up, they're going to have a lot more walk-in traffic, for lack of a better term, but I'm sure they can handle it. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Stay safe. See you guys soon.
Guys.